What's up, Oilers Nation? Game 5 of the playoffs. We got Tyler, Jay, Caroline here on the Giant pregame show presented by Sherwood Ford. And guys, you just got back from LA, so tell everyone about your experience.
Positive?
Well, extremely fun with a very disappointing ending.
Yes.
Yeah, like Game 3 was one of the best times I've ever had in an NHL arena. Like, the Oilers to just pump them the way they did. By the end, we were standing up cheering for goals, and it was just, like, hilarious. There was no Kings fans around here because they had all gone home by the time Evander Kane scored his hat trick. It was awesome. Game 4, not as awesome.
Yeah, definitely not as awesome. And obviously, there is some pent-up energy amongst Kings fans to really give it to us Oilers fans any chance they could, because we definitely were very pronounced as Oilers fans and cheering very loud for every goal and making sure we were stating facts about how awesome the Oilers are and how poor the Kings are. But we decided not to show up Game 4, and Kings fans gave it to us.
And that's what it boils down to for me. Like, you look at these games, and the Oilers have been, for the bulk of it, you know, when they've been good at 5-on-5, they've been winning the games. When they've been bad at 5-on-5, they're losing. And I mean that in the sense of they are clearly the better team than LA. They just need to show up consistently.
That was the whole thing. Like, it's like they must have had like a really good beach day on Saturday or something, because like they won Game 3 so convincingly. They must have already mentally thought they've won Game 4, and that's how they showed up and that's how they played. And LA took it to us. It was not pretty, and we know on paper we are the better team.
Yeah.
Well, guys, 14 goals scored for the Oilers in the span of those last few games, and then all of a sudden not able to score one in Game 4. That's kind of defeating for Oilers fans, especially against a Kings team that they know that they can beat. It's just a matter of maybe the beach day was part of the play, and sometimes the Oilers not sticking to what they know and kind of their bread and butter that's been in these last month or two. And I think that's where it's frustrating, because they had an opportunity to be on home ice tonight with a 3-1 series lead, and now we're down to a must-win because we're tied 2-2.
Such a brutal missed opportunity. And the other thing, too, is, you know, if you would have told me, okay, what's gonna lead to the Oilers maybe not winning this series? Number one on my list would have been goaltending, not 5-on-5 play. And when you look at the way that these two goalies have matched up, like, Mike Smith has been unbelievable.
Yes.
Look at this graphic. If you would have shown me this at the start of the season, these goaltending numbers, I would have said the Oilers have already swept the series. 944 compared to an 880.
I was doing the same thing. I'm like, I can't see.
Like, that is absolutely bananas. The goals against average, the difference of one goal every game. I thought the Oilers would have swept by now.
Yeah,
and
Mike Smith has showed up.
He's shown up, and he's made up for that mistake he made in Game 1 by giving them a shot to win in Games 2, 3, and 4. And now you're sitting here and being like, he's going to need to keep being this good probably if they're going to win this thing.
I think they'll wake up. You heard Woodcroft's comments after. This team's going to be better prepared. They got humbled a bit. They got embarrassed. And I expect nothing short of a very stellar performance tonight, and probably a beating similar to what we've seen in Games 2 and 3.
Over in the Twitch chat, Spiced Oil said, I think Bag Milk needs to take one for the team and take another beer to the back of the head. Worked out good last time. Go listen to the most recent episode of Real Life to get all of that.
Yeah, we were rent-free. Bag Milk took a full beer. Someone was willing to just spend $20 on Bag Milk in terms of how upset they were with us as Oilers fans.
Mike from Yeg says, I think McClellan switched up the forecheck. Much more aggressive, caught Woody by surprise. Won't happen again. And I agree with that. I think in terms of adjustments, Woodcroft's not going to get caught by surprise again. Yeah. How the Kings played in Game 1 and Game 4, I think that is their A-plus game. I do not think they are capable of playing better than that. Yeah. I think the Oilers are much more capable of bringing a much better effort than they did in Game 4. And I just can't see the Kings being that good again and the Oilers being that bad again. And it's the same thing I said after Game 1.
Kings definitely were more aggressive on the penalty kill. But that was twofold. They were more aggressive, and we were also terrible on the power play.
Yeah.
We got Will in the Facebook chat saying that the boys did not skate at all. Dale says if the Oilers have strong play in the slot, both O-zone and D-zone, then they will win the game for sure. We got a Kings fan in the chat saying go Kings. I think he's in the wrong place.
How did you find us?
And also Taylor says I'm 30 today. Hey boys, so happy birthday to Taylor.
Happy birthday.
I hope that Game 5 is a big blowout and maybe another Evander Kane hat trick. Guy, what was that like? Because I haven't talked to you guys about that yet. What was that like seeing that in person?
Oh, I mean, again, like it happened with 20 seconds left. There was no one left in the building.
Yeah, it was just Oilers fans in there at that point. It was great.
And whenever the Oilers would score, we could like turn around and like point to everyone in the stands and like cheer with them. It was awesome.
Oh, talking about fans, I want to talk about a couple fans from our Oilers watch party, our Oilers Nation watch party. the Utah Boys. I've kind
I
of
love
named
them.
them the Utah Boys because when I saw them, I'm like, these guys look like they could be a WWE tag team in like the best possible way. So I was like to Jay, we need to have our own Oilers Nation tag team and call them the Utah Boys. The nicest guys come all the way from Utah to support Oilers Nation, to support the Edmonton Oilers. Handed out some swag. Here we go, and it says Mission Stanley. And I just like the nicest people.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's just so great what you guys have done.
They're they're just so genuine. So we did a trip to Vegas. There was 53 of us. They made personal Oilers Nation glasses for everyone on the trip.
It's unreal.
As well as medallions like that, hilarious
cups
shot
with the-
glasses.
it was sweet.
Like, these guys are awesome. The fact, like, this was their first trip since COVID. Their last trip was actually meeting us in Vegas. This is their first trip. They decided to come to Edmonton and hang out with us.
Sat
and
by the
watch
penalty
games.
box and yelled at the Kings whenever they went to the
they
box,
were-
which was so funny to see.
And, you know, for the most part, you know, they got to see one amazing game live. They got to see a blowout at an amazing Nation event on Saturday, and they also got to feel a little pain, which, you know, as Oilers fans we do on with the game on Sunday. They got the full experience, and plus, I know Edmonton put on because we, you know, kind-hearted people like that, we we treat them with a lot of respect and a lot of love.
We do. I love them.
it, guys. I love it. I love the community. We got Jake in the Facebook chat saying this series feels almost like a reflection of the 2017 series against the Sharks, expecting a big W tonight in Game 5.
Well, this has been, so let's see. We lost one game and then won two, and now we've lost one. So I think by my math means we'll win the next two.
Yeah, I mean, that seems
That's
to
just
be
stats.
the pattern of the series here, knock on wood. But yeah, you go back to that in 2017. Game 1 against San Jose, heartbreaking OT loss. Game 2, 2-0 win. Game 3, 1-0 win. Game 4, the Oilers lost 7-0.
7-0. I was at that game.
Like, they got absolutely smoked by the Sharks. And what did they do? They responded with a big 4-3 overtime win. The David Desharnais goal was ultimately the biggest turning point of that series. And I think the Oilers are going to need a big moment like that again. It's not good for our heart rates or anything, but we haven't had a game go to OT yet. I think the Oilers are going to have to squeak out an OT win at some point in this series.
In this series?
At some point. I just think over
game
the course.
6.
Sure,
It'll
game
happen
6.
game 6.
Oh,
Because we went, you know,
I couldn't even handle
we
that.
show up tonight, we win. And then LA is going to be a little extra motivated, and we're not going to waver. We're going to stay playing our best. And, you know, I can see like a 2-2 go to OT, and then who do we think? Who do we think the OT winner is? Oh, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, but it'll be Nuge.
We're due for a vintage McDavid moment right away. Him and Draisaitl have been fine. And like they've had good games, right? Even fine by their standards, good games by anyone else's. McDavid had 3 multi-point games to start the series, but he hasn't scored since game 1. And it was first period of game 1, which means he's now gone, your Remchuk math, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 periods without a goal.
Oh, he's coming.
He's coming. He's coming right away.
Bet of the game, bet of the day.
It absolutely was one of my bets of the day over at Daily Faceoff as well. And same thing with Draisaitl. Like, this guy only has 4 points so far in this series. Draisaitl, I think he's laboring a little bit. I don't think it doesn't feel like he's 100% healthy.
Do you think it's from that injury from like a month ago?
He just doesn't look like himself right now. He doesn't look 100%. And I think at some point in this series, he will get to 100% and have, again, like a vintage take over the game Draisaitl moment. It's coming. Something's coming with those two. I can feel it.
Question for you guys, and Benoit brings up a great point, as we spoke to already. Smith is the only one that showed up for the game. At some point, do we expect Mike Smith, to have a little bit of a bad game? Because he's been pretty consistent. He had that one, I don't know what we want to call it, massive blooper in game 1. He's redeemed himself. He's been solid. Now the boys really have to step up for Mike Smith.
They got to win one for him.
Yeah, they have to. They have to. So are we anticipating at some point a game from Mike Smith?
It's just math. So the reality is he might have a night off, but like that's we're the better team. So we can get away with that. So that's probably the game that goes to OT.
It might be the one, right? And hey, that's just something I wouldn't be surprised if it's, let's say, 4-4 and it's going to OT and McDavid and Draisaitl have had big nights. You're going to need that bounce in OT to win a series. Whenever it's a tight series like this, it's always tight. There's going to be one game where you need a bounce or something. And I don't think the Oilers have gotten that game yet. I think the Kings have in game 1 with the Mike Smith mistake.
True.
The Oilers haven't gotten that game that goes late where you get the bounce. They'll need it right away. I'm just saying.
All right, let's move on to our opposition report presented by Yegberger. Obviously, we know the LA Kings by now. Trevor Moore, Danault, who else? Kopitar, and also Lemieux, who's been just such a pest, like such an annoying player. I honest to God, I feel like every Oilers fan feels that way. But guys who can kind of shake it up a little bit for the Oilers, as we've seen. We always have thought the Oilers are the better team, but the LA Kings do have a few key players that can eventually get that 4-0 win for the LA Kings and put us in the situation that we're in now with the series tied 2-2. Any thoughts on the rest of the lineup and maybe what we need to do to beat the Kings tonight?
I was digging into the matchups between these two sides a little bit, and at the 5-on-5 level, Anze Kopitar's played 58 minutes. He's being outshot 48-36 when he's on the ice. And I dug into this a little bit more in the way Woodcroft is kind of utilizing his pairings and forward lines. So with Kopitar on the ice, Ceci and Nurse have been the two main D-men. When they're on the ice, they are out shooting Anze Kopitar by a fairly significant margin. Kane, McDavid, and Puljujarvi, so the McDavid line has been the main forward line. Okay, on the other side of that, Danault's been eating the Oilers' lunch for the most part. And it's been the Draisaitl line with the Keith and Bouchard line pairing. And that Keith and Bouchard pairing has been struggling against Philippe Danault. They're getting outshot 17-13, 16-12 at 5-on-5. And I know the goal scoring maybe isn't there, but the possession battle is being lost. I think you need to flip the forward lines in this situation. I think they need to start getting McDavid out there a little bit more against the Danault line. McDavid's shown he can handle Kopitar, but Danault's playing the better hockey right now. And I think Draisaitl, on the other hand, if he's not up to 100%, play them with your best defensive pairing if he's not at 100%. So start throwing Draisaitl and that trio out there with Nurse and CC because they're your better shutdown pairing. And I think they need to mix up the way the matchups are going, and that could lead to them once again starting to win the 5-on-5 battle a little bit. I just think it's that small adjustment might be something to look for.
See, I don't do that type of research, but I can't argue with it. It sounds very promising, especially given the fact that Kopitar has not been as good as Danault. Because you're right.
Yeah.
But the one thing we heard, though, is Danault does get tired because he has got a big job to do, but he's been doing a really good job at it. But I agree with switching up that matchup. We're on home ice, so we're in full control of that. So it'd be good to see that and see how it goes.
Yeah, I just think, maybe a small adjustment that could spark them a little bit. In the Twitch chat, Spiced Oil wants to know if Arvidsson is in. It doesn't sound like he is. So again, the Oilers catching a bit of a break in terms of the health in this series. A question about Derek Ryan being in for the Oilers. He is going to be in the lineup tonight too.
That's good.
Are we doing lines? Or are we not?
Let's do the lines for the Oilers because it's new today and it's fresh. So it's a big change here for the Oilers. Obviously, Derek Ryan is drawing back into the lineup, but the entire forward group is different. At the top, you're going McDavid with Kane and Yamamoto. The second line, Draisaitl with Ryan McLeod and Zach Hyman. The third line is Nuge with Archibald and Jesse Puljujarvi. Fourth line, Derek Ryan with Fogle and Cassian. Third line, Puljujarvi moved down there, McLeod in the top six. What do you think about that? What do you think? Let's start with Puljujarvi down in the
polarizing subject.
It is.
Well, Puljujarvi is not playing his best at the moment.
Not at the moment,
right? So if he's not, then you've got to adjust, and that's what's happening. Like, I believe in Puljujarvi, but clearly there's something lingering there. I don't know if it's playoff pressure or if it's an injury, but he's just not playing to his normal level that we love. He's not at the Bison King level.
Yeah.
If he's Bison King, he's on line one.
And I think there's something to be said about putting him on the third line and getting him away from the pressure maybe of playing with McDavid and Draisaitl. Like, no more of this, hey, you need to look for him, you can't mess up, all that.
Yeah.
Go to the third line. Nuge is easy to play with, some pressure taken off you, and maybe that allows Puljujarvi to take the driver's seat a little bit more in the offensive zone, and he won't always just be looking to delegate to McDavid, look to pass
He
McDavid.
always does. That's to a fault.
To a fault.
Yeah.
And he seems to want to overfeed Connor McDavid and take that option away. Play him with Nuge.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. I would do the same thing.
Maybe you make a great point. Maybe he's just overthinking it. And
Right.
maybe that this kind of relaxes him a little bit, and we'll see what Jay Woodcroft's thought process isn't around that and if it works. But I don't mind it because exactly if we're not seeing Bison King at Bison King potential, move him down a little. It's not like it's a demotion at this point in time.
Nuge is your center.
Exactly. That's what's so key about this Oilers team. When Nuge is your third line center, you guys are winning.
Yeah. 100%. And I think that third line now has a chance to really start outscoring the opposition. And I just didn't get that vibe when it was Archibald, Nuge, and Derek Ryan. There just wasn't enough scoring punch there. Puljujarvi brings you that scoring punch while also adding in a little bit of a layer of defensive responsibility. And I love McLeod going up to the top six as well. Like, I think that's a good move. If Draisaitl is laboring and maybe isn't moving as much, put a speedy winger next to him.
100%.
And what that'll do is it'll push back the D-man if he forechecks hard, and it could create space higher in the offensive zone for Draisaitl to work. I think this is a really smart move.
Yeah, he's got a workhorse with Hyman that'll do all the dirty work, and then he's got the speedster McLeod. It just leaves Draisaitl to just be chill.
Yeah, just sit
Just
there and
chill
rack
out,
it
man.
up. Genesis says Bison King, and he even used the little Twitch emojis for Bison King.
Hell yeah.
Is ready to explode on the third line. Someone to drive Nuge's line. Genesis believes in the Bison King, and I do too in this spot.
I'm vibing the fourth line, and my prediction tonight is that you're going to see a fourth line goal. Because Derek Ryan is a very smart hockey player.
He is.
You've got Cassian and Fogle that will bang and crash. Fogle shows signs of skill. Like, they're all skilled, but like of high-end skill, and he is due for a goal. But I think with Derek Ryan, who's a super smart hockey player, I think he'll be able to know how to use these two weapons at his side. And I expect a goal from that line. I don't know which one. Probably playoff Fogle. I've been saying it every game. It doesn't happen, but it's going to happen.
This is an interesting topic that we need to get into.
Let's do it.
So Spiced Oil says, Dangerous Wade. Dangerous Wade says he's getting an orange jersey today. He's pretty sure he wants a CC one. Okay. And then we got
respect.
Yeah. And then Genesis says tonight's jersey for him is an orange Draisaitl. We had Mike on Twitter who said his orange McDavid worked for game 3, but not for game 4. He's going back to Navy Draisaitl for game 5. We've been very superstitious with our jersey choices. So what are we going with today?
So I am 0-1 with my orange Bison King. I am 2-1 with my royal blue Letestu.
Okay.
So I'm torn because I'm fresh off a loss.
Do you have a third option?
I have a few options. I've got an orange Jason Strudwick. I've got an orange Ethan Bear. I've got a signed orange Jujar Kara. No. I've got a white Draisaitl. And I brought the white Draisaitl LA should the Letestu jersey not work. So I'm torn. I'm torn what I'm going to do. I feel like, it's hard to sweep a series. So I feel like I don't want to. I think I might have to lean in with Letestu still.
In game 2, when I went to the Oilers game in game 2, I wore a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins jersey, and I haven't worn it since. So I feel like I need to wear that again tonight.
Please bring it back.
I need to wear that again tonight just because we're back on home ice. The vibe is there again, and hopefully we can
wear your necklace.
Yeah, yes, everything.
Necklace and the jersey. We need proof of that before puck drop to put the good vibes out there.
I'll tweet it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to mix it up, and because I went Draisaitl Navy game 1. Didn't work. Switched it to the orange McDavid. Worked for 2. Didn't work. So got to switch it up after a loss. I think I'm going blank reverse retro. Anyone can be the hero if you're in a blank jersey.
Well, wait. How about Uramperchuk? Because I don't think Uramperchuk has ever steered us wrong. Right?
We needed Uramperchuk game 4.
If I will make this as a promise. If they lose tonight, game 6, I'm hosting our watch party, which I think is going to be at one of the 2 pint locations.
Yep.
Uramperchuk comes out if they're facing elimination in game 6. I promise.
Yeah, so if it's series clinching game.
If they're on the ropes, yes. Because if they win tonight and I'm wearing reverse retro, I'm going back to it for game 6 no matter what. But if they lose...
But now you're creating a situation where we don't want to see your
Because you can only bust out your Romperchuck in case of emergency, like a fire extinguisher.
Fair. I'll give you that.
Jay's so deep with it. He's like, but he wants like a positive energy around.
Yeah, it's something that should be celebrated, not something that should be feared. Like, oh no, he's wearing your Romperchuck. Shit.
Things are bad, but he's going to turn the tide.
It's all in your hand.
Like, I know you've worn it to must-win games.
Yep.
But
I wore it when they needed to snap that losing streak in December, and it worked. And I wore it to Nashville when we needed a nation vacation win, and that's it.
Well, Will makes a good point in the Facebook chat. He said, just bring out the romper if they win, not if they lose.
Okay, so if it's
series clinching, because I think you got to celebrate. If it's a series clinching game, your Romperchuck is what pushes over the edge, because that game's likely going to overtime. And overtime commands your Romperchuck.
Okay, sure. That's fine by me. Genesis, his vote for your jersey is an orange Struddy.
Okay. I love the orange Struddy. It's so funny. Anytime I wore it in Vegas, and Strud's got so many text messages and tweets about it.
That's so good.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, boys, where are you putting your money today? Bet of the game presented by PointsBet.
I talked about it. McDavid to score plus 110 on PointsBet. That's the spot I'm going to do. The Oilers are massive favorites tonight. Minus 221 on the money line, plus 115 on the puck line. I like taking McDavid to score. I also like the combo bet PointsBet offers, which is McDavid to score and the Oilers to win at plus 155.
Oh, yeah, I'm all over that. And what is the Evander Kane shot prop at?
The Evander Kane shot prop is at 3.5. This guy's been hitting it a lot.
This guy is shooting the pill.
Yeah, he is. I'll pull up his game logs here in just a second. But it's always set at 3.5. So far this series, he's gone 5, 3, 9, and 5. So even when he missed it, he only missed it by 1. I think the Kane shot prop, still riding shotgun with McDavid, that's a good spot to go to. There was also another one I think I liked. Oh, PointsBet is now offering power play points. And how about this? Leon Draisaitl plus 105, McDavid plus 100, Tyson Barrie very juicy. Plus 230 to get a power play point.
Ooh, that's
Those
juicy.
are all viable.
That is very viable. How can you not be in on, like, they're getting a power play goal today.
They're going to be just
The
hungry.
power
Yep.
play is going to be electric.
I'm too stressed to bet, to be quite honest. The Leafs, it's a must win. The Oilers is a must win. Starting at 5:00 p.m. Tonight, I'm sitting on the couch with major anxiety.
If you're a hockey fan, you're going to need 2 TVs tonight because Boston, Carolina tied at 2. That game starts at 5. Tampa, Toronto, 5:30, tied at 2. St. Louis, Mini, 7:30, tied at 2. Edmonton, LA, tied at 2. This is going to be an unbelievable night
I know,
of
it's
playoff
so
hockey.
exciting. Okay, but before I let you guys go, I want to know where you guys are at with the Dallas Stars Calgary Flames series. Do you want, because Mike at home just does not want the Calgary Flames to win. Not that he's afraid to play the Flames, but he says he doesn't want to see them to succeed at anything. Meanwhile, I want the Flames to win because I want an epic Battle of Alberta, and I know that the Oilers could beat them.
Yeah, so
It's a loaded question, isn't it?
it's a loaded question. I feel like we match up well against the Stars.
Yep.
So, like, for the longevity of the playoffs, I'd probably prefer the Stars. I would love an epic Battle of Alberta, but if a Battle of Alberta is to happen, the Oilers must win. I couldn't emotionally handle it otherwise.
Well, I was thinking about that too. Like, what would you guys do? Like, I asked Mike because I've never experienced this from an Edmonton Oilers perspective. If you guys ended up playing Calgary, and let's say, God forbid, this is just a complete hypothetical, the Flames swept the Oilers.
Oh,
Like, how would you
come
guys
on.
feel?
Oh, man.
Shut down the pregame show.
I couldn't go to Calgary for a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
I have friends who are Flames fans. I wouldn't talk to them for a while. Like it would end relationships.
Wow, hey?
But it's funny kind of seeing the troubles that Calgary's having in the playoffs and how well except for last night, how well Dallas Mills shut them down.
They're 2-2 as well, just like us.
It's crazy.
It
what's
is
happening
wild.
right now.
It's nuts.
It's crazy. All right, guys. This has been your Giant pregame show presented by Sherwood Ford. It's game day. It's a must win. And Tyler still has something to say.
Yes, shout out to our friends at Yegburger. I am back home and I'm getting Yegburger for dinner. I am fired up. Quickly,
Excellent choice.
Let's do the Yegburger keys to the game, Jay. What do you got? What do you got? Keys to the game. We always got to end with some keys. And you always got to end your day with some Yegburger.
Yeah, my first key is to crush the OG at Yegburger if you can, or if you're craving chicken, the buttermilk chicken burger is delicious.
Double chopped cheese burger of the month for May. How good does that sound?
Well, there you go. Maybe I'm switching my order tonight. Honestly, like, I just don't want to pin it on any one thing.
Okay.
I just want a solid effort. Like, just be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You clearly took the night off in game 4. Do not take the night off as a team because we just can't be riding Smith as heavy as we are, to Caroline's point. So I just want an overall better team game and probably just systematically dominate the LA Kings. Systematically.
Yeah, I for me, the biggest thing, early hot start at 5-on-5. The power play goal will come. I trust the PK.
Mm-hmm.
I trust Mike Smith. I'm not worried about those 3 areas of their game. I'm worried about them finding a way to be impactful at 5-on-5, and that starts with getting an early goal here.
For me, stick to what they've been doing before this loss. Like, we've seen the Oilers play some of their best hockey. Jay Woodcroft knows what he's doing. The guys seem to be meshing really well together. Just stick to what you know. Stick to the bread and butter. Don't try to do anything more. Obviously don't do anything less. And play hockey. They know what they're doing.
Yep. Genesis shared his Yegburger key to the game. He said, get a dry power play goal. And I like that too. That's good vibes.
Oh, 100%. Assisted by Connor McDavid and Tyson Barrie.
And then we're all eating good. Yep.
Hey.
Tori Bucks in our Facebook chat. That's one of the Utah boys. What's up? What's
Utah
up?
in the house.
So, yeah, guys, that's it for our Giant pregame show. Game day. We'll be on Twitter. We'll be excited. And, yes, everyone let us know what jersey you're wearing tonight because we're superstitious and we need the energy and the vibes to be nothing but unbelievable tonight.
We all got to play our part.
It's true. We do. All right, guys. See you soon.